Transformers The Last Night, more like Transformers The Last Shite.
Fuck, this movie was bad.
That's no moon.
Right, so we saw Transformers The Last Night yesterday on its first day of release. I remember when the trailer for this film came out, the first teaser trailer, and I did a reaction of it, and it looked really good.
I'm gonna come clean. That movie looks fucking awesome. What the hell? It looks really good.
Like, I was shocked because the tone was great, and Optimus was like floating in space, and we saw him about to kill Bumblebee, and then the movie happened, and that took up about 10 minutes of the entire film, and the rest of the film is just really, really pointless. So I guess we'll go into the plot, which is very hard to do. Did you want to do full spoilers of this one?
Full spoilers,
Okay.
straight ahead.
So any of you Transformers fans out there who haven't seen The Last Night yet, stay away from this video because it's about to get spoiled. But if you've seen The Last Night and want to hear us talk about it, then let's get on with it. So the plot takes place at first in King Arthur's time. So you've got like all of these, you know, knights running around King Arthur with Excalibur and Merlin. And didn't he have a line where he was like, "Oh, I'm sozzled" or something?
Yeah, he's drunk. I think it was Stanley Tucci. I really think it was Stanley
looked
Tucci.
like him.
But he's just basically drunk and he's like, "Oh, I'm bloody sozzled."
Yeah.
Because he's British.
You'll walk in and it'll be like, have I walked into the right movie? Am I watching King Arthur Legend of the Sword right now? But I can assure you this is worse than King Arthur Legend of the Sword. A lot worse than that. But I guess it will definitely make more money. But then it goes into our day, or is it the future? I don't know. There was probably a title card. I think it was like 1,000.
Yeah, it was 1,600 years later,
Yeah.
which is probably the longest time jump I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah,
I
probably.
can remember.
Probably. But yeah, it comes into Mark Wahlberg, and he's a mechanic, and he's fixing these Transformers, and he's looking after the Dinobots and stuff. And then all of a sudden, we see Optimus, and he's being controlled and turned into evil Optimus. And then we get the military, and the Transformers are outlawed, and there's these kids, and these kids are like friends with the Transformers for some reason, but the army are like, no, these Transformers gonna kill these kids, so they go to kill the Transformers, and then they go on an adventure to find Merlin's stuff. It's so confusing. It's as confusing as it sounds. That's about the plot for the film. So I guess we'll just get into, firstly, the good. The visual effects are pretty awesome, and the Transformers themselves look great.
That being said, though, any movie these days with a massive budget seems to be able to pull off really good visual effects. Like,
It's a shame they can't pull off the story.
We mentioned Kong. I didn't like Kong,
But he looked awesome.
The visual effects in that movie are breathtakingly amazing.
So I guess that's it for the good.
It's very rare to have a visual, like a movie with great visuals and a great story.
That's true.
Also, kind of good at parts. I really thought that some of the stuff that they had Anthony Hopkins do was really funny.
The thing is,
but it
with
was kind
Anthony
of ridiculous
Hopkins,
funny.
Yeah.
Yes, but you want to know, don't you, dude?
He wasn't good in the film, but he was enjoyable to watch because all of the stuff he did was absolutely
It's like,
ridiculous.
have you ever wanted to see a like world-renowned actor who has himself been knighted? He is technically a knight. Say
He's the
things
last
like,
knight.
"Oh, she's a bitchin' car, ain't she?"
Or
That's the kind of
tell
stuff he comes
a
out with.
fat man to get his fat ass off a submarine and to
Squeeze.
squeeze. Or have you ever wanted to see him flip off a man in a car while his robot butler's singing "Move Bitch, Get Out the Way"
Yeah.
by Ludacris? All of that happens, and none of it is made up.
God.
I promise you. The main problem with this film is that the Transformers really take a back seat. They're barely in it.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's not like if you thought that the human characters were annoying before, they are the main focus of this movie.
Yeah, and
Like,
none of them are that interesting.
We're going spoilers. So the last night is Cade Yeager, just by chance.
Yeah,
Like, he
it's-
just happens to find
Mark
this coin.
Wahlberg is the last knight because there's this coin or something from King Arthur's day that latches onto his arm, and then for some reason it turns into Excalibur.
Yeah.
And it's never explained. Like, it's a weird spider coin thing, and it just attaches to him, and we never find out why, really. It's just like, you've been chosen, you're the last knight, and that's all the explanation we get. Honestly, that is it. Probably the main Transformer in this is Bumblebee. He has the most screen time, but even he doesn't do a lot, really, at all.
Yeah, he's just there. Like
Yeah.
he does some cool action scenes, but you know, at the very start, and you see in the trailer that he's blown apart, and then he just comes back together. So that kind of lowers the stakes
Yeah,
for him
that's
because
what
he
I
could
was
just
thinking.
be like that fight with Optimus. He presumably could just have his head chopped off and then just be like,
Just
"No,
come
I'm
back
alright. I'm good."
I didn't finish Transformers 4 because I couldn't get through it. But I assume that Bumblebee didn't do that in that film.
No.
So why can all of a sudden he do this? Did Mark Wahlberg
never
fix him
explained.
up to do this?
It's
not.
never explained.
It looks kind of cool. It was a cool visual effect, but it was like, why have we got this?
Yeah.
It didn't matter. And the kids in this film, there's this little girl, I think her name's Isabella, with
With
a
a
Z.
Z.
Yeah. And she's in the film at the beginning of the movie. And then she disappears for completely, like, all of it.
Yeah.
She doesn't appear for a very long time, and at the end it's just like John Goodman's robot or Transformer. She just says, "Can I come with you?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, you're a character in this film. Let's go and fight these Decepticons or whatever they're fighting." It does not make any sense whatsoever.
More or less.
Exactly.
But it's weird because there's not many Transformers in this movie. But if I had to tell you what took up the majority of the movie, I couldn't, because it
It was
just seems to
humans.
all
It
be
was
like
humans.
humans doing boring shit.
They don't do anything
It's
interesting.
so boring. They were
I
looking
mean-
for Merlin stuff, but they're also, making really shitty jokes at each other,
None of the.
sexual innuendos.
Oh my god, the most hard to watch scene was the scene in I guess it was Anthony Hopkins' house or whatever. It was a big castle that he lives in, and there's the female character. What's her name?
Vivian.
Vivian, played by Laura Haddock, who I think played Star-Lord's mum in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh.
She's in it. And then it's Mark Wahlberg and Anthony Hopkins, and there's obviously a bit of sexual tension going on between those two because male and female characters in Michael Bay's world have to fuck. But yeah, so they're talking, and it's really awkward because Anthony Hopkins is asking Mark Wahlberg when he last had whoopee, and then there's a whole thing about it, and then there's a whole thing about sex jokes between the two characters, and it's so hard to watch because it takes up about 5 minutes. Well, felt like that, might have been shorter, but it takes up so much time, and it's like, we could be having a cool action scene, we could have more Transformers. Cut
We
this
couldn't have
out.
anything.
There were certain parts where I was watching it, I was like, this could be cut out and make this
The
movie
worst,
better.
for me, the worst moment that summarised the whole tone of this film is there's a bit where, basically, if you remember the last one, Mark Wahlberg has a daughter, and she is off in the world in college while he is a fugitive, and he manages to call her, but he can only call her for like 30 seconds before the call is traced, and he can't say anything, so he just has to listen to her. And his daughter's literally like, "Oh, hey Dad, I know you can't speak because you'll be caught by the authorities. Yeah, all this stuff. You need a girlfriend. I don't want you to be alone." It's like, your dad's a fucking fugitive.
And that's how Michael
You wanted
Bay-
to have a girlfriend? Why?
That is how
Why?
Michael Bay does females in his films.
Why is that a priority? How about you get yourself somewhere safe where you're not going to be fucking hunted, and then you find someone to shag? Like, why?
It's not the most important part.
Why?
I think the most important thing is survival. You're going to be killed by the
Exactly.
Decepticons. Do you really care about... Well... I
it
don't
just
know.
makes
I don't
no
know.
sense. So much of this movie makes no sense. There's villains in this movie. You have Megatron. You have this evil creator, Quintessa. They don't do shit.
The best thing,
They
the
don't
best
do
thing
shit.
about the villains in this film was that one scene where Megatron... This is a real scene, okay? I'm not fucking bullshitting here. This scene happened. Megatron is in the desert negotiating with real lawyers, lawyers in suits. They've got this desk in the middle of the desert and they're negotiating about what Decepticons can be brought out of prison. And it's like, just let him all out. He's gonna kill you. But the worst part is, you remember Suicide Squad? At the beginning of that film, we had the introductions. Deadshot, the man who shoots all the guns, and Harley Quinn. She's the crazy Joker's girlfriend, bitch. And then it's like, okay, at least we're getting a bit of backstory, and at least we have a reason for those title cards and the explanation of different characters. It makes sense in that movie, but in this one, it's like. Mohawk, and he's why does Megatron want this guy out of jail? I mean, all of them pretty much die as soon as they're brought out of
Exactly.
jail, and we get this title card like Mohawk, Berserker, and like
Deathbot. Most of them
Deathbot.
don't have lines, and
Yeah,
in
they
the
don't.
first battle they're in, at least 3/4 of them just die.
I mean, Mohawk was the most annoying thing in this film, and he's in it for 2 minutes. But the fact that they had to introduce them all with title cards, I mean, if they did it with the first Transformers, like, this is Optimus Prime, this is Bumblebee, it would have been like, okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
it's just-
because we want to know the names of these different
just
characters.
ridiculous.
But with this one, it's like, we don't have to know. I mean, this scene didn't even have to happen because it didn't do anything.
I remember you telling me about that, and I was like, no, they can't.
Yeah,
do that.
I
They
heard
can't.
about it before the
And then
film
as soon as
came
it came out, I was like, no, come on.
It's lawyers.
Why?
It's real lawyers negotiating with Megatron, the most evil guy in. Oh, I don't care anymore. But the main villain of this film was set up in all the posters and trailers to be Optimus Prime himself, And I was thinking, okay, that's interesting, because the interesting part about this film was the fact that they were like, all the Transformers are outlawed. You know, the villains, the Decepticons are outlawed, so we have to outlaw them all, including the Autobots, who are apparently the saviors. And I was thinking, I sort of compared this to Captain America Civil War, where you've got the superheroes are sort of being, you know, they're not allowed to be superheroes, they have to work under the government, and it makes sense because there's a reason for it. We get explanation in that film, and they show us the reason for that. In this one, it's just like they're outlawed because they're evil, and it's like...
Because they keep showing up.
Yeah.
There's nothing else
like,
they could do other than fucking kill
We can't
them.
help if they're falling out of the sky, leave them alone.
Yeah.
And most of them aren't even doing any harm, so it's like, why is that a problem? But the thing with Optimus Prime is he's the main focus on the posters and the trailer. He's in it for about 10 minutes. We see him at the beginning.
And he's a shit character in those 10 minutes.
He is. I mean, I like the character of Optimus Prime, but not in this film.
No.
He sort of appears and they turn him evil because no reason. Why did they turn him evil? I don't
really know, because at first, like, he's like, I want to do anything to save my planet. And I'm like, so maybe he won't be brainwashed. And it's like, oh no, he's brainwashed because they need him for some reason.
Because even with how dumb it was that they turned Dom Toretto evil or whatever in Fast and Furious 8, they explained that. And in this one, it's just like, my planet's been destroyed. And then
Grrr.
Quintessa's
yeah, it
like...
happened so long ago, you dumbass.
Yeah, she's like, okay, well, you can be evil then, for no reason. And then it's like, right. And then he appears at the very end. There's a big fight between him and Bumblebee, which admittedly was quite a cool fight. It doesn't last long enough. And that's pretty weird, because most Transformers movies, the fights take place for too long.
Yeah.
And this one's so short. As you know, Bumblebee speaks using radio and stuff and did voice clips, and he gets his voice back. And you remember the Martha scene from Batman v Superman, when the word Martha's said, and then Batman's all of a sudden like, oh, I can't kill you now because you know that name. Bumblebee speaks in his normal voice. There's no reason for him getting his voice back. He just gets it back. He speaks to Optimus, and then Optimus is like, oh wait, I'm a good guy now. And then they fight the Decepticons and save the planet, and it's like, what was the reason for that?
There was no other way to snap him out.
Oh, definitely
Just kick
not.
him in the nuts.
I mean, yeah,
He's probably got
the
nuts.
only good characters, like we said, were Anthony Hopkins and that C-3PO butler robot thing.
Just because they were so ridiculous.
Yeah.
That they made, like, watching this 2.5 hour long movie not
worth it, but
not boring.
Yeah, some of it was unboring because of those.
Because I remember you saying at one point, you pulled out your phone and you're like, oh, we're an hour in. Or we've got an hour left or something.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, so far it's been pretty, you know,
And then
it hasn't
the
felt
last hour.
that long. You know, you watch a film and it is like a 3-hour movie, you're like, this feels so long. And I was like, you know, it hasn't felt too long so
it's
far. And
been
then the
quite an
last
easy ride.
hour and a bit, it's just like, oh my god, just end the fucking movie
I
already.
know. I mean, you've got Vivian's a descendant of Merlin for some reason, and the last night being Mark Wahlberg, and it's like, so this
just
whole movie.
How, like a Michael Bay film, to have the
Yeah.
only living descendant of Merlin be this really hot British chick.
At least he
who
didn't
wears
have too many
skimpy
boob and ass
dresses.
shots. I mean, I would have liked that because it would have made it interesting, but at least he had proper character kind of for her.
She wears skimpy stripper dresses.
Yeah,
in
Mark
the work.
Wahlberg says
and
she's wearing
she has
a
a
stripper
family who are always playing poker in her like front room and are just like, when are you going to get a boyfriend? When are you going to get a boyfriend? When are you going to get a boyfriend?
That awkward scene when Mark Wahlberg and her are upstairs looking for whatever they were looking for, and they're making noises, and then the mother's like, oh,
They're having sex. It's
I'm
like,
going to go and take a peek.
It's like, oh, go slowly.
Who
It's just
says things like that? Who even
No.
says that? But yeah, overall, this movie, a huge lack of Transformers themselves. At least you could actually tell which Transformer was which this time.
Yeah,
though.
to be fair, I mean, they're not interesting characters.
I mean, they don't
mostly.
transform a lot.
I don't know
either.
the names. There's the green one, there's the Japanese one, there's the fat one, who's John Goodman, and there's Bumblebee.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just, there's Bumblebee, and that's the one you know, and that's the one you kind of care about. But at the end of the day, the whole fight scene was completely pointless. The whole Optimus being evil was pointless. It would have made more sense if what they'd done is Optimus had gone to space to look for Cybertron, and then he's sort of floating around in space. Don't bother turning him evil. He just comes back because he has to. It would have been stupid, but at least it wouldn't have been taken like
the thing
20
is,
minutes
like,
of the film.
yeah.
You could have saved so much time not doing that. Oh god.
It just, like, he goes from being really, you know, bent on the planet's destruction and being evil to being good and fixing everything in, like, the space of what feels like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
and
there's-
as usual, this ends with an Optimus Prime speech.
a cheesy
Yeah,
speech.
it's just like the ending, it happens so quick. It's like dun dun
It's
dun
really
dun dun.
abrupt as well.
Oh, here's the speech, and it's just like there's gonna be some Autobot out there who's having a nap. I said this yesterday. He's in hypersleep or something. He's gonna wake up. He's gonna have like 5 voicemails from Optimus Prime, and just be like, he'll learn the story of the Transformers movies based on these 5 voicemails. He's like, God, Optimus, why are you sending me all these messages? Why are you constantly giving me these cheesy fucking speeches?
It's just the bit where he says to Mark Wahlberg, "What have I done, Optimus? You
You've
have
done shit all."
nothing. You've done nothing for this whole film, so don't even try it. Don't go there." And then the film ends really abruptly. There's a shot of some planes in the sky, and Optimus finishes what he's saying, and then directed by Michael Bay, and it's like,
Yeah,
well,
it's
thank
really
God
sudden.
for that.
And there is kind of a, I guess, end credit scene where the villain Quintessa is revealed to be disguised as a human and still alive. And the funniest bit is there were these audience members in our screen, and at one point this guy goes up to the Quintessa human person who is a Chinese woman, and he's like, "Are you lost?" And one of the guys sitting a few rows behind me just went, "No, she's Chinese." It's like,
And
what the fuck?
that shows the
that was funnier than
that
any
shows
joke
the
of it.
target audience for this
Yeah.
film. Really stupid people. I'm sorry if you're a Transformers fan, but this isn't any good. Just don't bother. If you're going to go to the cinema, wait till Wednesday, go and watch Baby Driver, because that is the only film that is worth watching this week. Just
God.
don't bother with this one. Yeah, it ends stupidly, it starts stupidly, the middle's stupid. It's terrible. Nothing about it was fun. Apart from Anthony Hopkins, kind of. But other than that, it's not worth wasting your time or money
Yeah.
on.
I would
Just
go
the
as
visuals
far,
are nice and that's it.
I would go as far to say that this was my least favourite in the Transformers franchise.
I haven't seen all of 4, but it probably was for me as well, because at least the others are kind
There are
of...
elements of the others that are enjoyable.
Yeah,
like
with this
I
one-
enjoy elements of, say, that probably the most hated one is Revenge of the Fallen, but there are elements in that are so ridiculous that
And
I
the
find it
enemy
funny.
scrotum.
Yeah.
There's actually a line in this, and Stanley Tucci mentions scrotums again. It's like, is he just obsessed with the male scrotum? Fuck. So yeah, overall, yeah, this film really did suck, and I hated it. So
Don't
any last
bother.
thoughts before we
It's,
go?
it's utter shite, like we said at the beginning. It's so
It is.
bad. It's not worth any kind of
This
attention.
is the longest review we have ever done.
Oh, and it's for Transformers too.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching our video of Transformers The Last Night. If you've seen it, let us know what you think. But if you loved it, then I would love to know why. So make sure you let me know if there are reasons for that. But thank you guys for watching, and I guess we'll see you in the next video.
It's a space station.